Hi, my name is Pamela Thomas, and welcome to my presentation on interpersonal communication for Liberty University Human Services 508. As I begin my presentation, I encourage each of you to take a closer look at your individual communication skills. Are you communicating effectively? Next slide. In Proverbs 4:7 it states, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding." There are several concepts that need to be considered with interpersonal communication and enlarging my conversation. Interpersonal communication is a combination of two elements: the interpersonal, pertaining to the relationship between persons, and the communication, which is the impartation or exchange of thoughts, opinions, and information by speaking, writing, and or body language. Now let's consider the definition. According to Stewart, interpersonal communication is a type or kind of communication that happens when people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. As we consider interpersonal communication, we must consider how well we listen. Next slide. Now let's consider the concept of enlarging my conversation. Enlarging my conversation is defined by understanding one's communication skills, recognizing the weaknesses, and developing a plan for improvement. When I consider the term, I think of ways that I can improve my interpersonal communication and my current relationship with God, my family, my friends, and acquaintances while building new relationships with others. The question I must consider is, now, am I communicating effectively? Next slide. As mentioned earlier, communication is an integral part of any relationship. In fact, an absence or breakdown in communication can put even the best relationships in serious jeopardy. Poor communication often leads to feeling of betrayal, distrust, misunderstanding, and even social isolation. The foundation of solid communication is not making yourself heard or expressing yourself clearly, but rather where the other person is coming from. The key to communication is about listening to the other person, rather than flooding them with your information about who you are, what you want, and how you feel. Next slide. When it comes to communication, being a good listener is quite crucial. The Communication Skills Assessment was designed to help us identify these areas that need improvement by assessing our ability to communicate with others in a business setting, relationship with our families, as well as those intimate romantic relationships. The test also helps us identify those areas in us that create misunderstanding, suggest ways that we can present information more clearly and effectively, and also identify barriers to communication success. According to my test score of 59, my communication skills of listening are average, leaving plenty of room for improvement. I scored somewhere in the middle of the communication skills, not picture perfect, but not at the bottom of the barrel either. While I already have some skills, some time and concentrated effort is needed to develop other skills and abilities even further. When it comes to my insightfulness, my score was 84. I am extremely skilled at interpreting other people's words and actions and seeing things from their perspective. As a result, I have few misunderstandings. I understand that empathy is an essential part of good interpersonal communication, and therefore do my best to put myself in the other person's shoes to get a better understanding. Next slide. In addition to communication assessments, we asked to complete a uniquely you assessment. According to this assessment, we have predictable patterns of behavior because we have specific personalities which fall under 4 specific types. Those 4 specific personality types are called DIS, D-I-S, and include the D temperament, which is the active, task-oriented personality type. The I temperament, which includes the active, person-oriented personality type. The S temperament, which is passive, people-oriented type. And finally, the C temperament, which is passive, task-oriented type. My specific personality type is S, so let's take a look at me. Next slide. As an S type, I think people expect me to be more sensitive. I like to blend in with the crowd, because I feel others want me to be still and quiet. I can be loyal and friendly on an individual basis. I act like people want me to act more withdrawn and reserved in public. I often think I need to be reserved and serve humanity and do what I am told rather than challenge others and do what I want to do. My humble spirit and quiet demeanor make me very well liked. My behavior blend is CIS. According to the assessment, I am more passive than active. I have strong people skills. I can be outgoing and reserved. I can also be the life of the party or a quiet spectator. I generally like to be influenced and interact with people, but also can be withdrawn and concentrate on a specific project if needed. People tend to like my friendliness, enthusiasm, cordiality, and I don't have to be in charge. I prefer peace and harmony as well as organized events. Next slide. Now let's take a look at me. I was born the youngest of 7 children. At an early age, we were taught to love each other and respect our others, to take care of one another, and to take care of those in need. One of our favorite family traditions was every Sunday going to my paternal grandmother's house to eat and fellowship with our other family and friends. My paternal grandmother was the foundation for my family, both maternal and paternal. At an early age, I was taught to be independent and have carried that trait with me for life. My mother has been very influential in my life, often influencing and emphasizing education and bragged about my accomplishments. During my college life, I had the opportunity to do and see a lot of things. I also lost 2 siblings. Later, after I graduated, I met my husband and we have been married for 10 years. To our union, we have 3 beautiful children, one of whom includes a son who is a truthful autistic child. Next slide. According to my assessments, the Uniquely You and Communication Assessment, I have several areas of deficits. According to my Uniquely You S type, I need to address the following situations: increase my confidence, become more fearless than fearful, speak out more often, become more outgoing and less inhibited or withdrawn, become more assertive about me, remove all insecurities, stop being judgmental, avoid bitterness and resentment, step out of my comfort zone, and take charge and do whatever I need to do first. Uniquely You suggests that I have confidence in myself and my opinions and thoughts. Remove fear. Have a fulfilled life that God intended for me. Speak out and don't be intimidated by other people's opinions or thoughts. I'm just as important as they are. Lead by example and most importantly, take care of me first. Next slide. There are also differences when it comes to communication as well. My score suggests that I still need some work. Listening quietly, refraining from interjecting my own opinion and advice, taking all information presented, both audio and visual cues, provide clear, meaningful feedback, and focus on the speaker and the topic of conversation. Try not to avoid asking questions and refrain from emotional empowerment. Recommendations for me include taking time to hear what the speaker has to say and not rushing them, only providing information upon request, being more attentive and to the speaker, listening with my eyes and my ears, focusing on the speaker and what he has provided. Don't avoid or jump to another conversation. Getting a better understanding by asking questions and staying focused, avoiding emotions that may cause me to think unclear. My overall goal is to become a level 1 listener. I want to improve my empathetic listening and avoid passing judgment despite my past relationships. I continue to need skills necessary to place myself in the talker's position. I want to make sure the speaker knows that I am listening and being attentive to their verbal cues and visual cues. I want to listen from the heart, knowing that at any time I can be in the same position. Thank you for viewing my presentation on interpersonal communication. I hope you have enjoyed it. Godspeed to all, and I appreciate all the interactions I have had with my fellow classmates. God bless.